time I stepped with it.
Return of the Interceptor broke box office records with its release.
During the war, we had these things called battle stamps. I didn't fight in the war, mind you. I just used them recreationally.
You should just stick to one thing tonight. To give it a shot.
Yeah, and it's military grade. So you know it's good.
This is United Colonies Space. Maintain current course while we scan for contraband.
Our scan detected contraband on board. Halt and prepare to be boarded. All illegal and stolen goods will be confiscated. You're on the wanted list. Halt and prepare to be boarded, or we'll be forced to open fire. Copy that. Stay on course while we escort you in.
Is something amiss?
There is a bit more in them. Hope you're finding everything. Oh, please, take a look. Thanks for shopping at Jemison Mercantile.
It's amazing what passes as art.
If it belongs on your ship, oh, please, take a look. Thanks for coming in.
Telling you, Bianchi, something's wrong with the boots you sold me. I wear them to the metro. Suddenly, the shuttle runs late. I buy a cup of coffee, and the barista screws up my order. It's like I'm walking under ladders with a broken mirror in my pocket. And the only time it happens is when I'm wearing your boots.
So, what do you want me to do about it?
I want a damn refund!
Fine, fine. I'll take the boots back. Just don't tell anyone you bought them from here. I got contacts all over. Stock may not be so reliable, but I got ways of getting things. Ugh, again with these boots. Ugh, right, the boots. I hate to admit it, but she has a point. She's the third customer to return the pair, all for the same reason. The boots might really be cursed. I don't doubt it. Either way, it's bad for business. Hey, you're a pilot, right? Maybe you can do me a favor. I've heard of a UC station at the far end of the galaxy called the Den. You go there and stash these boots in a crate, and I'll give you credits as a compensation. Finally, someone to give these blasted boots the boot, if you pardon the expression. Here, I'll have your credits for you when the job is done. You ask me, the real New Atlanta... Take your time. I got it. You need something else? I'll be here.
Evening, sir.
We're doing the best we can here. We're no ruler. Okay, what seems to be the problem? Good lord, how'd you even make it in here? Don't worry, I'm good with stitches. You may not even see a scar. All right, you should be fine now. Don't have much of a choice. Can't afford to pay staff, and while I've got a few volunteers from the community, I can only ask so much of them. We've scraped by for a good long while now, and we'll continue to do so. Don't you worry. Funny story about that. You know, when people first arrived on Jemison, they dismantled the colony ship and used the parts to establish a place to live. Over time, they built out, and up, and up, and after long enough, they started to forget about the people and the things still down here. The walls and the ceiling have changed, but this place still uses equipment from that old ship. And it's here because not everyone in New Atlantis can afford Reliant Medical.
Over here. The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. But listen, I know I should have been more forthcoming about who I was earlier. So, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. I'm getting there. The man I was cloned from, Freestar, and the things he did. So I really appreciate you saying. You know, while we've got a second, was there... Or if you've got... No telling how long the cat... Then I guess it's just a matter...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin.
Something you still wanted to discuss?
Proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terrormorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all 3 Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terrormorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the Cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terrormorph seem at all alarming to you?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that?
Attention. An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terrormorphs.
Terrormorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contained. between the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Might take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
You know, sometimes I feel a bit guilty. Sitting behind a desk, deciding the fate of others.
Nothing is getting to the cabinet.
The EM rifle, grab it! That's it! Now! Hit him with everything you've got!
Stop! We're trying to help you!
I can't stop! Lights out on. Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terrormorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terrormorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Gosh, no time to waste.
got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad, barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We hold them as best we can.
You might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with Terrormorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you.
I hate false alarms. Gotta stay sharp.
We should go tell the sergeant what happened.
You're back in one piece. Well, I guess our people weren't so lucky.
The few protecting the many.
And it would have been plenty more if it hadn't been for the two of you. The city owes you both a debt after this.
We were just in the right place at the right time. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terrormorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
How the hell do Terrormorphs get into the city like that undetected?
Let your people all know how much we owe them today. Captain? Hadrian? It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terrormorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terrormorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
The next time Terrormorphs rear their ugly heads, UC is going to be ready.
The things we do
I'm gonna
here,
go check
the tech
in
we
with Chief
develop,
Engineer Kulkarni.
benefits all of humanity.
Start getting a plan together for that data.
This is the last Terrormorph attack.
Chief, these orders. A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terrormorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
Huh. All right, we'll start at the beginning.
When the colony war ended, the UC and Freestar Collective came to the agreement some weapons needed to be off limits. Mechs, xenowarfare. So they gathered up all the relevant research materials and sealed that information away. Terrormorph data included, in the archives here in the city. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories: UC, Freestar Collective, and House Va'Run. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people, the ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Va'Run, to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done. Very funny. This is going to be hard enough already. Both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Va'Run? Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Va'Run retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Va'Run thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval. It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmore's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there. Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her.
Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support.
And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code.
Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze.
UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage.
But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell.
So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen.
Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you.
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Yes, what?
Captain, Admiral Logan informed... You can just call him SysDef. Everyone else does. They're the division responsible for combating the Crimson Fleet, fighting pirates. It's not a small job keeping the galaxy's mercantile class safe from death and dismemberment, so they're constantly undermanned. They work out of the ship the UC Vigilance, though the support request was a little vague on what your actual duties would be if you decided you wanted to lend a hand. Me? 6, 7 years now? Was a recon squad commander in a former life, so it wasn't too big a jump bossing around foreign pilots instead. But Vanguard's been a quality assignment. Meet new people, judge them on a series of diverse criteria, get them out there helping people who need it. MASS is short for Military Administrative and Scientific Triumvirate. From here, the 3 co-equal divisions of the UC government work together to advance the cause of the colonies. Be that through mutual defense, political and diplomatic strength, or scientific discovery. Now, serving any of the UC's divisions grants citizenship, but scientific and admin positions in the UC tend to be real competitive. Understandable, most people would prefer to earn their citizenship behind a desk rather than in combat. Not something I'd ever choose for myself, but understandable. Military used to have a pretty narrow view of where the best pilots came from. In their eyes, it was UC or bust. The creation of the Vanguard was an acknowledgement by the brass that maybe not all the galaxy's greatest pilots went through a UC flight school. So it's the Vanguard's job to find them and get them to fly for us.
Find a way, Captain. Sorry. Just doesn't add up. Spaceport has anti-xeno protocols.
You are a visitor? You'll find the ambassador.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or conference room. Terrormorphs, as in more than one? All that security, and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here?
Official business? Talk to the ambassador.
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants Terrormorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. I was afraid of that. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance, one, to convince me. Understood. I'm listening. And those lives are in my hands. It's a job I take very seriously. It's why I'm even entertaining what you're suggesting right now. You think this is about a grudge? This is about safety, and that's not something I take lightly. Captain, I'm sorry, but my answer is not changing. The UC is just gonna have to find another way. Now, I presume you can see yourself out.
absolute... Oh, sorry. Oh, what? You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the Nat to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier. Well, then you have my earnest thanks. But look, they said you were coming here on official business. The ambassador likes to handle all that personally, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you should probably go speak to her. You were sent for me? Huh, maybe... Let's go somewhere to talk. So you want me to work with you? But why now? Why me? No, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And no other city should have to go through what happened here. So then, what would you need from me? Okay, first you need her bio key, and that thing doesn't leave her side. Better chance of splitting the atom with a spoon than me getting that from her. Okay, first you need her bio key. Her quarters. Oh, that's doable. And you and the UC will be providing me with what for my services? Oh, wait, I thought you were looking to hire me. I'm not taking a bribe. Really? Okay, you've got yourself a deal. Okay, so